This is an impromptu live I just decided to do on my ride back from dropping the kids to school. It is not, just to let you all know, about anything related to any other content creators or any quote unquote tea that's going on YouTube or online anywhere really, or with celebrities. It's really my desire to talk about some issues that are concerning me, being that it is April, Autism Acceptance Month or Autism Awareness Month, whichever one you choose to call it. And the fact that many voices, important voices, are not being allowed at the table. And I love the saying by Shirley Chisholm that if there is not a seat for you at the table, bring a folding chair. Basically, that you belong there. And if you aren't welcomed, assert yourself anyway. But that is sometimes easier said than done. And so I just want to take a little time this morning to just share a few thoughts about this. So in the year 2004, what was then called the Combating Autism Act was passed. And it has since been changed to the Autism Cares Act, which I don't remember exactly what the acronym is, but it stands for Collaboration, Accountability, Research, Education, and Services, I think. But this act was passed to try to involve the community and people with lived experience, as well as quote unquote educated people, professionals, in efforts related to autism. So there were many different things that the legislation passed that it required. It required, first of all, an extensive research commitment in terms of federal dollars to address matters related to autism. It required a public committee that would be a federal committee that would advise the Secretary of Health on matters related to autism and would help coordinate all federal efforts. There is a number of things. I don't want to get into too much detail about it, but essentially, for several iterations now, this has been renewed by Congress to ensure that the public had a voice in things related to autism. There are about 23 member federal agencies that are involved with this act, as well as members of the public. So things like the Social Security Administration, Department of Education, Department of Defense, National Institutes of Health, National Institutes of Mental Health, the Substance Use Organization, all kinds of groups are involved in this. And hello, everyone that's here. Thank you for joining. And there has also been a clause that requires there to be a certain amount of professional organizations that are involved with autism to be part of the committee, people who are living with autism or autistic themselves, family members, people from different communities, geographic diversity, and so forth. And we currently have an administration in the United States that is taking us backwards in a number of ways, like in terms of social issues, in terms of a lot of human rights, and that includes autism. So since Donald J. Trump was elected as president of the United States, there have been a lot of hoaxes about autism and stigmatizing language that has come out. People have been, there's been fear mongering about things such as Tylenol use. There's been talk about having a national registry that would basically share all of the private medical information about people with autism and a lot of other things. But most notably and concerning issue is that the federal committee that advises the Secretary of Health that we now have, who is already a quack, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., removed all of its public members, which included a number of people of color, researchers, parents, autistic people, representatives of organizations. It removed every single one of them, of which there were, I believe, 21. People such as Dr. Aisha Dickinson, who is at Johns Hopkins University, who has a doctorate in epidemiology and has been working diligently to address environmental as well as genetic issues in autism, and has been a champion for Black families. Individuals such as Yetta Myrick, who lives in the DC area, who is a champion for the disability community in general, but especially the Black community, and is herself a mother of a young adult son who is autistic, who has a lot of co-occurring health needs. People such as Jenny Mae Fan, who is a researcher who is autistic herself and has autistic children, including one who has intellectual disability. All of these people were dismissed. And so, at a time when a lot of our children are misdiagnosed, are seen as a behavioral problem, or find ourselves in being overrepresented in the prison system, find our children having higher numbers of out of school suspension, and being restrained in school and being misunderstood and being bullied. This is really alarming. It is unacceptable for a committee that is funded. Oh, it says I sound extremely loud. Sorry. Yikes. Let me try to turn the volume down and speak a little less loud. It is unacceptable for a committee that is funded by our tax dollars to not represent the people, to only have white members, to only have people who have a particular narrow, skewed view of autism. That it is something that needs to be eradicated, and that it is essentially like a death sentence, and something that needs to. It is unacceptable to have people on the committee who have been involved with strange, you know, things such as putting people in hyperbaric oxygen chambers, off-label prescriptions of things that are basically chemical castration or neutering, vaccination myths, and other things to be advising the public. It's dangerous for our families. It's dangerous for our children. And so, essentially, I want to encourage everyone. This is Autism Acceptance Month, and our voices matter. Autism impacts everyone, no matter what color you are, no matter what community you come from. The majority of people know someone, maybe have a family member or a neighbor, someone they care about, who autism is a part of a lot of our lives. And so I just want to encourage people to try to use your voice, because our voices are being ignored and dismissed. If it's sending an email or a public comment to maybe the school district that you live in, or if it's dispelling myths or stigma, or donating to an organization, I just encourage you to lift your voice to make sure that we are heard from. Because I'm very concerned now that the committee that has been charged to speak on behalf of the community contains no one that looks like me or my children, contains no Black or brown members, public members whatsoever. Dismissed 7 autistic people who were in the committee. It has replaced them with 3 autistic people, one of whom is a high school student. And I think it's great that youth are involved, but respectfully, I'm sorry, putting it can be tokenizing to basically put a child in a role that they aren't. I just feel like it's tokenization essentially, and true health experience and has is concerning. So I just, if you have an opportunity please use your voice effectively so that we are heard from and we are not dismissed and ignored. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, everyone.